Son, if you're listening, I'm dead. But I left you this podcast. You'll be all right. Just pretend that I went out for smokes. Hello, everybody. It is the Out for Smokes podcast. We are coming at you with video in our brand new studio, live in Queens, in Rego Park, Queens. It's very nice out here. Sean has opened up his apartment to us, which we're very grateful for. And I'm in a great mood because I found parking right in front of your apartment.
Oh, that's pretty good.
So that's nice. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Did you park okay?
No, I took a train here.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a long.
I know.
commute.
It was a
Yeah.
hike.
Yeah.
I had the opposite experience as you. I was
Yeah.
furious the
Really?
whole way over. Yeah.
No, I was furious the way over here too.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I got
That
stuck in
parking was
traffic and
nice.
everything.
Well, that's
But
how I
yeah.
felt. I'm very happy now because I got a nice sandwich from a deli inside of a Key Foods.
Uh-huh.
So I'm good too.
Where did you eat it? Because there's no seating.
So there's like a school over there, and the fence it like sticks out a little where you could kind of rest a sandwich on it. And so I had my drink and my sandwich.
Scott
on
just
there.
shoved a sandwich through a chain link fence and just ate it like a woodpecker.
Yeah, and I just ate real quick there.
Yeah. All right. That's not a bad idea. Well, today is a special episode. It's all about, we have a nice little theme ready for you guys. The theme of the episode is we're going to talk about education. And I would like to open up today's episode with a little story about my 9th grade Italian teacher. He was an older gentleman. His name was Mr. Sherber. We called him Sherb. He was in his 60s. And he was like German and Irish, and he was an older guy. And it was very easy to get him sidetracked.
Mm-hmm.
Like everybody, I feel like everybody has a teacher like that, where you
Yeah.
ask them questions about their life or about football or whatever. We would spend entire class sessions just talking about
Yeah, teachers.
anything but Italian.
I had an Italian substitute teacher who he had shiny rings on his fingers, you know,
Uh-huh.
and all you had to do, like, he'd be flipping out on
Yeah.
someone, and
Yeah.
you'd go, "Sir, what's on the index finger on the right?" And he'd go, "Oh, that actually," and he'd start telling you.
Oh,
yeah, yeah. Just a moron.
Have you ever found out that a teacher of yours has passed away?
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Miss
That's
Keller
kind of a
just
trip.
died. She was my the first lesbian I ever knew. You
Uh-huh.
know, I didn't know she was out,
Uh-huh.
but she was clearly out.
You didn't know she. Oh, but she was clearly a lesbian.
Because I was a little kid.
Yeah.
Looking back, I go, "Oh, that's the first like openly like lesbian woman I saw
Yeah.
walking around."
Yeah.
She was great.
And what happened? Yeah, I think I heard
got
about
her
this.
name wrong. Just
She was
now,
mauled
too.
to death by her 2 corgis.
She like broke a bunch
R.I.P..
of golf records in
Hmm.
Jersey. You know,
Hmm.
she looked like Ernest P. Worrell.
See, nowadays you have social media accounts like Lives of TikTok and everything, and it's like this teacher look at this rainbow flag. But like back in our day, you had to like you literally had to do detective work to figure out which of your teachers were gay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, well,
It's like
except your gym teacher, if it was a lady, and that
Yeah.
was so there was Mrs. Kellett, and she's passed,
Mhm.
and she had a husband. I apologize.
Oh, she did.
I don't know. I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know, but I apologize
Yeah.
if she did. But then in middle school, we had an out lesbian gym teacher,
Uh-huh.
and some parents were giving her shit for having a rainbow flag sticker on her car, and I think she eventually took it off.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so unfortunate.
I think Miss Kellett's a lesbian. She's moved in with 6 different women this semester. And she has domestic abuse charges against 5 of them.
But anyway, we were sitting in Italian class, and so it was easy to like. And sometimes this teacher would get a little like raunchy, you know, and we're doing the lesson, and then this kid Tom Rubino, if you can picture this kid. Now remember, it's like 2001. He comes to class in like a white wife beater, and like what were those sweatpants? Not Janko, but like Rockaway, like I want to say like Rockaway pants. Like
Okay.
Rockaway sweatpants,
Yeah.
and like his pants are sagging and everything, and he comes in with his hoodie like over his shoulder, and his wife beater, and at some point in class he just goes, "Hey Sherb, how do you say blowjob in Italian?" And then Sherb just goes, "Well, I'll tell you, why don't you ask your mother?" And the whole class just goes, "Oh!" Like it was very funny. Then he like goes back to the lesson, and it's like 5 minutes later, and Tom Rubino goes, He just goes, "The fuck you say about my mother?"
Just processing it. For the 5
yeah. Like it took him like a good like.
Yeah. Like, what do you do exactly? Should I attack this man?
It's like a Windows 95 computer trying to load a porn video.
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking guinea mental reaction.
Yeah. Just like his head just looks like the meme of Julia Roberts with all the math around it, you know. And he's just like, what? He's like, what? Hold on a second. Blowjob, my mother. Blowjob, my mother. Where's the connection?
I did ask him a question about but why?
He's just carving. He's carving his mother's face with a knife into the desk, and then the word blowjob, and then he goes, "What the fuck?" And he flips his desk over. He goes, "What the fuck you say about my mother?" He flips his desk over, and then Sheriff's like, "All right, that's it. Come on, get out of here." Makes him go to the office.
Did your gym teacher teach sex ed in my school?
Yes.
It was the gym teacher's responsibility.
That was very funny to
teach
me.
Sex ed
You're
for
learning
some
about
reason.
dicks from a guy, and you can see his dick.
Yeah, they've
the-
not shown any proof that they know anything at all about
Yeah,
anything all
yeah.
year.
Yeah.
Especially, I mean, my gym teachers, they barely even organized activities for us or sports, you know?
Yeah.
It would just be like, go in that corner, you guys could throw shit.
Yeah.
The girls walk the track if you feel like, you
Yeah.
know, and then girls would gossip and walk the track. And
Yeah.
it was just very much a social thing.
Yeah.
While I remember a lot of my gym teachers, the guys wanting the girls to flirt with them, you know?
Uh-huh. Wait, did you do square dancing in Seattle? Did you have like a unit devoted in gym class to square dancing?
We did. Yeah, we did actually at some point.
Yeah.
I don't remember it that well, but yes.
Was that like fire drills for you guys? Like in case another town came over and wanted to square dance?
yeah.
Square dance.
All
Get in
right,
line!
so I just want to make sure none of you guys get served by Steiner at high school. Yeah, but yeah, it was weird, like, because you'd always get dressed for gym, and then one day, like, we come in and the teacher's going like, "All right, we're not changing today, not changing. Everyone just regular clothes." Everyone like, "What's this about?" And they're like, they were very casual about like we're doing square dancing, which I don't know why that was part of the curriculum, but I guess it's to practice touching a girl. I don't know. I don't know.
That was like that was part of the agreement for desegregation. Like, okay,
Yeah.
but we have to teach square dancing.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
yeah.
it's the only.
We got to make
dancing-
sure we civilize them by teaching them how to do-si-do.
Dance without gyrations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the only dance that's not sexual.
That was
Right.
actually Joe Biden's first policy thing. He was like, and you know, maybe if we're gonna bust the kids in from Boston, we could, teach them how to square dance. Scott, when you were in school, we both did this thing at school dances where we would grind with girls.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
called it freak dancing.
Yeah, I've done that. I've definitely done that.
Yeah.
I danced well. I remember in middle school being a good dancer. Usher
Yeah.
was popular.
Yeah.
I practiced the moves. I gave a shit.
Uh-huh.
And then I told you why I stopped dancing, right?
I think you did, but there's something about a Yankee hat.
Yeah. I went to a dance in a Yankees hat. This is irrelevant to the story, but this is where I was in my life. I had a New York Yankees hat that was like a fake silver, like fake diamond,
Yeah.
like emblem instead of like glued onto it. You
I
know?
didn't set the story up the right way, but what I meant to say was that like sometimes at high school dances, I would like, I don't know how this happened. I don't know how I became this person, but everyone would like form a circle around me, and I would like grind with some African American girls. Like I would like there's literally pictures of like 17-year-old me, and I'm like on the ground. There's a girl like sitting on my crotch. There's like a girl named like Unique or something, and she's like sitting on my.
I think that's the exact
And they're-
plot of a Bronx Tale.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
dancing with these gay boys.
Yeah. Dad, you know what? Everything you said about them was wrong.
They dance just as good
They
as
dance
me.
just as good as me. And I'm gonna go to Newark, New Jersey. I'm gonna join a team. Anyway, but you would do that too, right?
Yeah, I danced a lot and stuff, and then I was hanging out with a bunch of black kids that happened to be at the dance. Like
Yeah.
they show, it was like a boys and girls club dance. It wasn't a school because there wasn't like a lot of black kids in my school.
Yeah.
And so there was a bunch of them there, and I was dancing with them, because I thought we were of equal ability, and I remember the one kid was going like, do the George Jefferson. He was doing like a George Jefferson, and I was like, that's amazing. Like, and we only knew him from TV Land. I'm like, my God, this kid has skill,
Yeah.
And then we went to the bathroom, and we were all like hanging out, and I don't know why, but I just said the N-word for some reason. Like, I didn't say it, obviously I didn't have an opinion that was terrible. I said it like I was hanging out with friends.
Right.
And they took my hat. And they were like, nah. And then
You
I
weren't
couldn't
like
dance the
you
rest of the
weren't
night.
like they need to.
They didn't say you can't dance the rest of the night. I did not dance the rest
You
of the
did
night.
not.
And
'Cause
I
it was-
don't think I've danced since, other than some weddings.
Do you remember what
There's aunts that have
context?
died that I'm like, man, I could have danced with them, but I didn't because I said the N-word in 8th grade and felt like a fucking loser.
Do you remember in what context you said it?
It was very much like, we're all hanging out, Like, I remember that. It was
Yeah.
I think I was looking in the mirror and I had my hat on and I was just like vibing as a kid does,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
just complete. It's not vibing, it's playing.
Yeah.
I was in it.
Yeah.
My imagination was running wild, and
Right.
they were just being black kids.
The
Yeah.
And I was
context
playing black kids.
The
Yeah.
context was Scott said, one day I'm going to date one of you. Beep.
This fucking guy. And that's what happened. But I'll dance at a wedding here and there.
You ever? I had a dream once where 2 black people gave me permission to say the N-word.
Oh yeah.
I was in like high school or something.
Wait, that's real?
Yeah, it was a dream.
Holy shit!
I had
That's
a-
so
Freudian
fucking funny.
They're
Sean.
like, you're cool enough. You can do it.
Sean had you woke up with fucking cum all over his fucking pajamas.
First wet dream.
Yeah, they go to sex ed. They're like, now we're gonna explain what a wet dream is. And Sean's like,
Is that what you have a dream that you could say the N-word?
Sean,
No,
what?
no. The dream was I was talking to 2 older black dudes, and I said,
It was a Mace Windu. Mace Windu
Yeah,
came
yeah,
to him in
yeah.
a dream, handed
Yeah.
him a purple lightsaber, and was like, "You too
Yeah.
can say the
It was
N-word."
Juan Williams from Fox News.
He was sitting at a table with the clumps.
yeah.
And they were like, "Go ahead, say
It
it."
was-
Instead of Hercules, it was just him saying the N-word.
Yeah.
the
It was
right-
it was Larry Elder and Thomas Sowell that let you say the N-word.
the right-wing economist Thomas Sowell. It's like,
Well, Sean, obviously, it's just a word, so it's totally fine to say if you want to.
That's a pretty good Thomas Sowell, huh?
no, it's not bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
if
not
you
bad.
watch Fox News
yeah.
enough, you'll have a dream where Thomas Sowell gives you permission to say the N-word, and then you can cite that in casual conversation.
it's like Field of Dreams before the N-word. It's like
Yeah.
if you say it, they won't mind.
If you say it, they won't mind.
If you say it,
If you say it, it will be totally cool.
It will crush in conversation.
if you say it, it will crush. It's Tucker Carlson. If you say it.
He's a lot. Tucker is a lot.
I think
Yeah.
no. The dream was I was like talking to 2 older black dudes. I don't know if it was at the post office or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I said something like, "Y'all N-word's crazy" or something, and they were so cool with it. And that was my dream.
Uh-huh.
And it's like, obviously it's just a stupid kid's dream, but
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's
the
still-
funniest kid's dream.
I know.
Not to get off topic, but do you guys remember when when you first learned about what the N-word was? Because I remember there was this episode of NYPD Blue, and NYPD Blue was like the edgy cop show on ABC. And I guess apparently there's an episode where Sipowicz says but he's in the episode going saying the word, and then I guess the thing is that the guy's daughter heard him say it. So I guess for that character, it was fine to say it.
Till his daughter.
Until his daughter heard it, yeah.
Hmm.
I don't know. I got to revisit that because that was kind of a wild show. They
I
would show people's ass on ABC at 10 o'clock.
I do remember actually. This was elementary school, and there was one kid we hung out with who would be crazy and say all the bad words, and he had he had Tomb Raider on the PlayStation 1, and he would make Laura Croft lay down and you could see her ass.
Yeah.
We were so impressed by that
Yeah.
in elementary school.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we were looking up bad words in the library, the school library dictionary, ass or whatever, and we would just have him say them, and that was the coolest thing to us. And then there was one word, and he's like, "No, I won't say that." And it was the word Negro. And
Oh,
we were
yeah.
like, "Oh shit." And that's
Interesting.
that's how, fourth graders learned the power of the N-word, basically.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I was really into satire as a kid, so I liked Mark Twain and stuff, and like
Oh yeah.
even like Chris Rock, and you don't call it satire, but I like my favorite comic was Chris Rock, and
yeah.
I was a little kid, so
Yeah.
I cared about. Oh my God, talking about having a dream.
9-year-old Scott's
I
like,
think
hey, that's
I told
true.
my girlfriend in high school that like a dream of mine would be to be able to say it on stage and people be okay with it. I remember, when you start comedy, you're like, I'm gonna break down words, and
Yeah.
that was like especially when you're a kid, or at least
Yeah,
at the time,
sure.
because they like praise the Carlins and
Sure,
stuff of
yeah.
like deconstructing what any of it means. So
Yeah.
you're like, I'm gonna call women cunts and they're gonna
Yeah,
hug
yeah,
me
yeah,
for
yeah.
it. Like, what is that?
Well,
dream?
Carlin does have that bit where he says like, we don't care when Eddie Murphy says
Kiza, whatever.
they're yeah. He's like in a theater, in a sold out theater, just calling Eddie Murphy. Anyway, should we move on from this?
I think we should.
this
I think we were
topic?
talking about
All right.
education.
Well, we're
right?
talking about
Well, we're going to
education,
talk
but-
about
but
critical race theory, so this
We do
actually
wanna
is
talk
a
about-
perfect
but are we
segue.
public?
We wanna
are
talk
all
about critical
publicly
race theory.
educated? Publicly educated?
I think so.
Yeah, all
Okay.
public schools.
Public school. Okay.
Though actually, no, actually, my parents had me in a private Catholic school for 2 years, then they pulled me out because they couldn't afford it. And it's the right thing because it's like it was very sheltered, the
Yeah.
private school, and then you go to like a public school and the kids are just dicks.
Yeah.
And that's like what talking about education, I think that
Were they not dicks at the private school?
well, they were like, kind of stuck up and sheltered, but it's like
Yeah.
elementary school public kids will bully you.
Yeah.
Whereas like private school kids, like everybody's kind of like afraid of the teachers. They have like, a very, at least in my particular private Catholic school, it's like uniforms, a very short leash. There was less like right up in your face bullying.
Yeah, it's the music they let you listen to on
Yeah.
the way into school.
Yeah,
And
like,
Catholic
I would-
school, they say no music, and so you get no personalities. That's why like there's so many people from our generation that have like ruined people's lives because we listened to Eminem and stuff. And so we were just like, suck my dick, homo.
Yeah.
They're like,
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. And that's just because like most kids just act like whatever's movies popular at the time. Like remember
Yeah.
like when Lady Gaga came out, like everybody was like a little monster, and they were like, I'm fucking weird. And you're
Yeah.
like, okay.
Yeah.
It happened with Bowie in this, even Bowie in like the 70s and shit.
in my
Talking out of
private
my ass.
Catholic school, I got in trouble because I said "Oh my God" in class once because I took the Lord's name in vain, and I had to go to the principal's office, and I had like a fantasy later about how it would prove "Oh my God" is not a bad word. I can't even remember if that was a dream or just like something I went home and stewed about how I would have like owned them with logic or whatever.
One night he had a dream that he could say, "Oh my God," and the next night he had a dream that he could say the N-word.
But then you get to like a fucking public school, and you just say faggot in class, and they're like, "All right,
Yeah.
don't do that again."
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
shh,
All right, come
whisper to your neighbor.
Yeah, this is quiet
Yeah.
time now.
Yeah.
You can say faggot in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We're on heads down on desks right now.
But yeah, I guess that's what I want to talk about in this episode, sort of like your experience, going to school, because I did, school can be a drag, but I think looking back on it,
I loved it.
you loved it.
I loved school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was bad at math and science, and I was very good at English and history.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just chill the fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah. Biology was a tough subject for me. I don't know why I had a tough
I forget
time.
which one
Bio.
is that even.
It's like first you study
he
like
failed the part
atoms.
about if you pull out, you don't get a woman pregnant.
I don't even. I really don't know the difference between
Yeah.
biology and chemistry. Biology is like human, or no? Is that just human biology?
I failed the part about what genitals make what person, he just put a stamp that said liberal on my final exam.
You were
So
writing in
biology
yes,
is about living organisms.
It's
and
yeah,
chemistry
well,
is about like.
how to
Yeah, I
make
think
mustard
chemistry-
gas.
how to-
yeah.
how to cook
How
blue
to kill
meth.
people, right?
How to cook blue meth to shut your bitch wife up.
Really stick it to
avoid
her.
avoid your brother-in-law who works for the DEA. That's what chemistry is. But yeah, I was gonna say. Oh, but but biology was tough because it was like first you study like atoms, and then you study like biochemistry. Then you study cells, and every time I would be like, oh, well, this will make sense to me.
It was a lot of math equations too, right?
I don't remember that, but I
Okay.
remember like, and then it was cells, and then it was like organisms, like bacteria and shit like
I
that.
hated that shit. I
I
hated
hated that shit
looking
too.
into
It
the
doesn't-
microscopes and
yeah,
you look
yeah,
at the
what am
thing
I-
and you go, buddy.
What am I
I
looking-
respect that it's there.
Yeah.
Like way more than.
But as the year progressed,
to-
everything got like more and more familiar to the point where like then we studied like fish and then reptiles and then birds and then mammal. But at the end of the year we got to mammals, and I was like, okay,
Then
mammals.
we got to Italians. Then we got to mammals.
Yeah, we would.
Magnum. Then
Yeah, we-
Italians. Then regular humans.
Yeah, we took a bus trip to Bensonhurst, and we just got to observe everybody behind their fucking caged porches, and they were like, "Don't get too close, kids." Sometimes they just snap for no reason.
Yeah, we went up to the Bronx Zoo and they have an exhibit with like 7 guineas in a fucking enclosure. Fucking
Oh, you talking to me? Hey, it's mozzarella, not mozzarella. Okay, just saying stuff like loud. Yeah. So by the time we got to Italians, I was like, oh, I will understand this. No, and then we got to mammals, and I was like, okay, mammals I'll understand, and I got a D in biology. But the teacher was kind of a dick, and he's dead now.
Yeah,
so.
science teachers, in my experience, were kind of a little disconnected
Yeah.
from like being sociable. You know, like
Yeah.
they weren't fun. I see videos online of like fun science teacher does fun science things.
Yeah.
Mine were always like weird, strange, and we were able to take advantage of them. You know.
Oh yeah.
Like most of the bad things that happened, like I remember a kid lit a paper airplane on fire and threw it.
Uh-huh.
That was in science class. I remember a kid walking into science class and ripping the front drawer out of the teacher's desk and putting it in the bathroom down the hall. That was science class. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
my one science teacher was Jewish. He had a yarmulke. Some kid ran into the class and said, "No hats in school," and knocked it off his head. That was like a big controversy. In
That
my
was
school.
probably a big controversy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big controversy.
It was my high school biology.
that kid got sued.
Yeah, that kid got sued.
that kid got taken to court, and they just took him for all he was fucking worth. They took his dad's house. Good for them.
My high school biology teacher got moved to our school because he married one of his students from another school. Like, I guess she graduated high school and then they got married, but that was weird. But the punishment was, we're moving you to another school. And he would
Yeah.
just like flirt with high school girls. And it's like, you know, I guess that happens, well, for a variety of reasons. But from what I've read, like high school or, you know, teachers, they really need math and science teachers
Uh-huh.
because people who know those subjects can just make more money anywhere else.
Sure.
And then it's like, you know, English and history, well, you know, there's usually enough. But
What do you
it's
do
like,
with a math degree, though?
I don't know. You
How do you
go, you
Work for NASA?
yeah, you come up with a formula that convinces old people to buy Bitcoin, and then transfers it to an orgy in the Bahamas where the ugliest people have sex. Just fucking, just on top of a bed of your money. Just all of your all of your 401k, they fuck on top of it, and then they come on the ugliest woman you've ever seen in your life.
You have to Zoom with the nastiest bitch on the planet. You know she's just getting dick down.
Just think
Oh,
about the money.
man.
I'm making 6 figures.
Oh God, I'm so glad I'm not a teacher anymore. I did see a TikTok where some teacher was like, I work at Costco now. I love my job. I'm leaving work. I feel great. I feel supported by my team. Management always has my back, and I don't have to deal with parent emails or anything like that. It's kind of a bummer. I don't know.
Yeah.
I had a teacher. I don't even know if I can say his name, but he got caught for digitally penetrating a girl.
Oh.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's what they said in the newspapers.
That's he
But
did it with his phone?
at another school. Yeah. He stuck an iPhone up her pussy.
He did deep fake nudes of her.
But I remember when he taught us, because that was at another school after I had graduated. But when he taught us, he came in after a major shooting. You'll find out in a second. And he goes, okay, first person to like get some answer right, like on like some musical thing. He goes, gets a free ride to Virginia Tech. And some girl went, that is not funny. And he's like, oh, really? You know, like music teachers are such bitches.
Yeah. It's funny that when two teachers are fucking, the entire school knows about
they
it.
know
Like all
it,
the kids. Yeah. Yeah, because there was the music teacher in middle school, the music teacher and the shop teacher, Mrs. Manning and Mr. Bozart. They would like always like
He'd
they were
carve
always.
violins for her and shit.
I guess they were just always together. Like they ate lunch together. They'd walk around the hallway together. One time there was an announcement. It was like choir practice will be canceled today, and I walked by the choir room, and Mr. Bozart was just in the fucking choir room. He's just in the choir room, like chilling, like like sitting at the thing talking to Mrs. Manning, and they were like, yeah, clearly having an affair. And then I went back to the school, and they were like, and please welcome our choir teacher, Mrs. Bozart. So they got married.
Oh, that's.
But it's
lovely.
like it's so funny. Like if I was having an affair, like 700 middle schoolers would not know about it.
Yeah.
You know.
I remember I had a teacher who thought my oldest sister was hot, and like.
Oh yeah.
'cause
Well,
I-
everybody. A lot of people think you're.
yeah, whatever, man. And I
A
remember,
lot of truckers are like, "This'll do."
dude. I
when they
remember
see your older sister.
I remember him wrestling my phone out of my hand. A teacher wrestling my sister's 10 years older than me, and wrestling the phone out of my hand and being like, "I want to call your sister." And he called my house number
Why?
on my cell. And
In
he's
high
like-
school?
Yeah, my mom picked up and he's like, "Hello, is Kristen there?" And I was like, "Give me my phone." It's not her name, you know. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Give me my fucking phone back." And he was like laughing. He thought it was so funny.
Yeah.
It's like, "Geez, Louise,
Yeah. Did your sister?
what kind of reputation?" No, there's another. Oh man. Okay, so there was this one. I'm not gonna say. I'm from a very small town.
Yeah.
But okay, like a principal or vice principal or something. Eventually, he like married to another teacher. But she went to that high school, and they were saying that she gangbanged the baseball team, and there was a videotape, right?
Yeah.
Which sounds like a made up thing that kids say.
Yeah.
Your
But when
sister?
when the principal would walk by, everyone would go, "We gotta find that tape. We gotta find that tape." Because you know, in Road Trip, like the whole thing is like,
Yeah.
"We gotta find that tape." So we'd be like, "We gotta find that tape." Kids are fucking awful, you know.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
never be a teacher. They just expose all
No,
of your
they
flaws.
would just really.
You
yeah.
got like autistic math teachers, and we're all just like ruining them,
Yeah.
just brutalizing
Yeah.
them. You
Yeah.
talk about kids getting bullied.
and then
talk
subs
about
got it
teachers
really
getting
bad.
bullied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, subs got it the worst. Then they
Yeah.
asked for it, you know.
Yeah.
They didn't have to.
They
come
just
back.
they just want to make their $60 a day.
Yeah, subs are absolute freaks, man.
They're freaks, yeah.
I think subs are more addicted to like their wives making them male subs at least, like their wives making them tuna fish sandwiches in the morning to go to work. I think they like having
yeah.
a child's lunch. That's what a substitute
Uh-huh,
teacher likes.
uh-huh.
Is
Yeah,
hanging out with
yeah.
kids.
Sitting in the
And
lunchroom
then
with the
having a
kids, being like,
toasted
"Hey, do you
tuna
guys?
sub.
Yeah, you guys mind if I sit here? Actually, oh, you guys talking about Pokemon?
Oh my God, we were walking the fucking dog the other day, and we're talking
Yeah.
to this Asian girl. She's got to be like in her early 20s.
Yeah.
And Khalees, our dog's name is Evie. She goes, "What's your dog's name?" And Khalees goes, "Do you know Pokemon?" And
Why?
and the lady goes, "Because Evie's from Pokemon."
Oh.
And the girl goes, "Yeah." And then when I left, I go, why would you ask the Asian girl if she knows Pokemon?"
Yeah.
She goes, "She looked young."
Uh-huh.
It's like the kid knows. Everybody knows Pokemon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I was wrong.
No, but that's good though. You saved your dog from being put in a stew.
Come on, Sean.
Just the easiest. Fucking.
Yeah.
Just like what a homeless person said to Margaret Cho. That's my contribution to riffing.
I had a vice principal who I would every WrestleMania, like the day after Mania,
Yeah.
I would hand him a VHS that I recorded of Mania, and then by lunchtime, like if I went back to see him, he would leave for the day. They'd be like, he was sick every day after Mania. He would get sick before lunch and go home, but it was just so he could watch the WrestleMania tape I gave him.
That you gave him.
Yeah. All my teachers were mostly cool with me because I was just fucking around with them.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
actually though, like speaking of bullying teachers, I have like one that I like look back on and feel very bad about. Actually, you know, I mean a couple, but like one
Yeah.
that comes to me is like, and it was so funny to us at the time. We had this teacher named Mr. Birch, and we would always just call him Mr. Pitch. Like, you know, and like we would just say it around or something. He would hear it. And be
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
what,
yeah.
what's that, Mr. Bitch?
You don't really have friends like you do when you're in middle school.
Oh no.
There was a sub. His name was Mr. Novik. We just called him Mr. No Dick.
Yeah, it's real love. My
Did it-
my
did
nephew's
it
He
one
like
day.
that.
actually,
Yeah.
and Mr. Birch retired at the end of the year that he taught us, or he went on to something else.
Mr. Bitch.
Just called him Mr. Bitch, and he was a cool dude.
Yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah.
But
Of course.
like,
Of course.
it's like, Like, why did I? It's like it's not like they make much money.
No, I know.
It's just like you're just a kid and you're an asshole and
Yeah.
you're just fucking with them.
Yeah. And so Mr. Novik was like, because some subs were like kind of cool, and some of them were just kind of arrogant for some reason. Like I think they just liked the position they were in. So Mr. Novik was like he was like a little arrogant. And so I remember one day they had just enforced the law that said that you could be pulled over for not wearing a seatbelt. Like that could be the only thing you get pulled over for. This motherfucker gets pulled over right in front of the school, like we're like waiting to go inside, like we're doing the morning congregating or whatever, and we just see right in front of the school. He's in his shitty car, his shitty like hatchback. He's getting a ticket, and everyone's going like, "Mr. No Dick's getting a ticket." You're like, Mr. No Dick can't drive. And then we go and everyone's like, oh. We saw his face. People were like, you got a ticket?
I'd hang out with like a lot of my I remember my English teacher. I would like mow his lawn and shit.
You would like eat lunch with him?
Yeah, no, he'd be like, hey, I need Chaplin. He'd pull me out of class, and then I'd be like, what's up? He'd like, let's walk around, and then we would just like bullshit about the world and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
And I had a Spanish teacher, Mr. Rodriguez, and he was the only Spanish guy in the whole school.
Really?
And he was a Spanish teacher, and he would wear like this little suit, and I'd go up to him in the halls, you know, and I'd be like, I'd be like, man, you don't gotta wear a suit. You're the janitor. Like I would do like this whole "you're the janitor" bit, and I thought it was so funny. And I look back and I go, that's fucking insane.
Yeah.
That I would do a
yeah,
janitor doesn't have to wear a suit bit because
just-
he's a Puerto Rican.
You were
guy.
just being racist
Yeah, I
to
was just
a
being
grown
racist
man.
to a man, just a guy.
Yeah.
He thought it was funny, but
Yeah.
it doesn't make it right.
Yeah.
You're like, you're Puerto Rican. You don't have to wear a suit.
So awful. Yeah.
He's just got you on a list somewhere.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's like, I mean, in terms of education, we can do in the future, if there's any interest, we can do a more education policy focused episode. But,
Sure.
I think like in terms of, let's tie this to the theme, which is, lessons for your son and such. Well, you're
Yeah.
going to have soon with Ben, you're going to have to pick
Well,
a
lessons
school.
for your son. Don't miss out on bullying the shit out of your teachers.
Yes.
And I know we're all kumbaya. Everyone gets along. It's but your teachers are adults and you're allowed to bully them.
That's right. Yeah, that's why they make $40,000 a year.
You're supposed to verbally spar with them, you know.
And if they
It's
get a
part
job
of-
at Costco, we're gonna go to Costco on the weekends and just bitch them around. Be like, can you check in the back? You pig.
Ben is gonna have. I mean, you're gonna do public school, or are you gonna do?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, we're gonna
unless-
do, no, we're gonna
unless
do
he-
private school.
Unless he really hits in the next year,
Yeah.
it's going to be public
This
school.
podcast takes off and just all my money goes to
Private
just
school.
to send him
Sweet
around a bunch of
private
rich cunts.
What about like a technical school or something? Well, that's not grade school though, right?
But yeah, I don't know. It would have to. He would have to like want to do that.
A trade school.
Yeah.
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 Send him to the private school Jeffrey Epstein taught at.
Yeah. I guess one more teacher story I just want to talk about. I had the 6th grade teacher, Mr. Lanaba. He ended up being one of my favorite teachers, but when I was in 5th grade, there was a 6th grader in my CCD class who had Mr. Lanaba, and he was like, yeah, he's like an awful teacher. He's like really mean. He yells. He has dirty magazines on him. The cops have to come every day and talk to him. He was just like lying about this guy. Mr. Lanaba ended up being like a great teacher. He was like really smart. He like knew a lot of stuff. He knew a lot about everything. He was so smart that I was like, why is this guy teaching 6th grade? He should be like teaching at a college level or something. I remember one day, there's a bunch of people at our lockers, and there was this kid, Greg Parsons, who had a locker like a couple lockers down from mine. I guess Greg cursed, and Mr. Lanabal walks up to him and he goes, hey, Greg, I don't want to hear your white trash mouth. I was like, this guy's awesome.
This guy rules. You're white trash mouth.
Because he called the kid white trash. Yeah, but let's sort of switch gears a little bit here. Let's kind of get into higher education, our experiences with higher education. Scott and I went to the same college, as you guys all know. I encouraged Scott to drop out. I think
We
it
didn't
was
go
a
the
good-
same years. Like I didn't know
We
you
didn't-
from college.
Yeah, no, I had already dropped out.
Yeah.
Since
You
then.
had already not.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't know. What was your guys' experience like? Is that beer?
Yeah, I can give you guys a half a grapefruit beer if you want. Half
No,
each.
thank you. I hated college, man. I was bad at it.
Yeah.
It was a bad start, and I couldn't correct it. And so when I say like, "Oh, you told me to drop out," I had to drop out because I wasted that first year and a half.
Yeah.
You're supposed to meet with your guidance counselor. I never did that. Right? Is that what they're called? A guidance, whatever they are.
Yeah,
Never
yeah.
met with that person. They're supposed to like help you set up what classes you're supposed to choose.
Yeah.
I never did that, and so I just picked classes I wanted to take. They didn't have to do with my fucking. I went for political science, like which, fucking why,
Yeah.
Thought it would be fun.
Yeah.
And but then I would take like mythology classes. I took a Broadway class. I just took
Yeah.
shit that I thought would be interesting.
Yeah. I took a philosophy class, and the teacher was this Chinese guy, and he would come into class, and he'd be like, I'm not going to do an accent, but he would just be like, and like the whole.
It's worse.
Yeah. Wait. What?
It was a squid.
No, because no, that's what he kind of sounded like. He just like I would sit there for like an hour and 15 minutes and be like, I can't understand a single fucking word this guy's saying.
I did have teachers like that in college.
It's
Yeah.
just so.
I wouldn't
Just so
remember their
crazy.
names. Like
Yeah.
they don't fucking talk to you. Like they just
Yeah.
speak at the fucking
Oh.
at everybody.
Yeah.
And I remember maybe second to last class, my feminist film teacher, which
Yeah.
again I just randomly took, didn't count for me.
Mhm.
We were arguing and then about something, and then he was like, "Do you know my?" He said something about my. I was like, "I don't know your name," and he's
Yeah.
like, "You don't know my name?" And I was like, "No. Why do I need to fucking come here? I don't fucking. Why do I need to know your name?" And then I'm standing there, losing an argument because of course I should know his name.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were arguing because he showed us, my feminist film class, he showed us this movie. It's from like the 70s. Some listeners might know about it, where it's just a bunch of vaginas. It's like vagina, different close-ups of vaginas. Then they'll randomly throw in like a
And
vagina.
the argument started when Scott started jerking off.
with like a vagina on its period, and then like a baby's vagina will be thrown in there. And it's like all these vaginas, and then I remember he stopped the video and he's like, "All right, let's talk about it." And they really
Scott's
had
like, yeah,
they had people had takes on it, and I was like, I think it's silly.
Uh-huh.
And I think like to throw in a baby vagina, it's not a statement.
Yeah.
It's like you're going, oh, we're showing
Yeah,
vaginas,
yeah.
and it's like an obvious like an intent to shock is there's a random
Right,
baby pussy
right.
in there.
Yeah, that's
And then
like,
he's like, no, you know what's shocking? The latest Michael Bay film, the Transformer film. I'm like,
yeah.
all right, I'm not saying I like that either,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
better than a
See-
bunch of pussies. Like, you don't defend that.
Yeah.
That's why high school's better, because you just call your teacher a faggot in that situation.
That's the
yeah,
end
and you
of
get
it.
in-school suspension.
He goes, yeah, you're right. I guess I am.
That is the difference. Like, yeah, you can't bully your college lecturer.
Yeah, they really think they matter. They think they can't get their asses kicked,
Mhm.
college teachers.
Mhm.
Every college professor, I think I fucking hated, actually.
Yeah.
Besides my mythology teacher, who was a woman.
Uh-huh.
Who would
I
just
had-
talk about like all the musicians she would have wanted to fuck,
Really?
Yeah. Remember
Mythology?
she said, yeah, I had a mythology teacher, and she would talk about how she walked down the aisle. She got married. She was an older woman, but
Oh,
she
I'm
just
sorry.
got
Wait,
married.
can I just add this is the vagina thing?
Yeah.
So on my 18th birthday, I went to like the porno store in our town, and I bought like a DVD. I bought like a lesbian DVD, and so on the DVD menu, there's 6 like scenes, and one of them just happened to be like these like 2 women in their 70s. Like that's kind of similar to the vagina thing. They just kind of
Oh, they
tacked
throw
on.
it
They
in
just kind of
there.
threw in. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like
Yeah.
when you go to a Walmart and you look at like the DVD bins, and they have 3 movies, and 2 of them are connect. It's like Beverly Hills Cop 1, Beverly Hills Cop 2, and then it's just like Caddyshack 3. You're like,
Yeah,
why?
Yeah.
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 Scott stands up to argue with his teacher about the Vaginas film. He's like, oh, first I need this newspaper to cover myself up.
Yeah. The funniest thing too was like when you would did you ever have somebody in a college class and you would have like a 40-year-old who was just going back to school,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because those people were kind of funny to me. Patrice had a bit about that. He goes, when I see people in their 40s going back to college, I want to laugh at them. But I had this speech class at like 8:00 in the morning, and the guy who took it was like this older guy, and I guess he was like an actor or something, but I think he smoked. And it was like very hard for him when he talked. He would sort of talk like this. And then so he would talk, and there was this woman in this like black woman in her 40s, and she was like just so happy to be at school and so excited, and she'd be like, "Yep, that's right, that's right." Like every point he made, she'd be like, "That's right, that's right." And then I remember at one point he was like, "Okay, listen, I need you to stop. I know you're excited to be here. I know I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I can't give the lecture when you're interrupting me."
Mullen said he took like a real estate licensing class because I worked in real estate in New York for a bit. But Mullen took a class, and there was apparently like a black woman doing the same thing.
Yeah.
She was like, "Yeah, I'm all about my money." just interrupting the class to say something like that.
That's great. I'm all about my money. Yeah, it's nice. It's like you don't really mix with other people the way you do in school, unless you're like, I guess, in the workforce.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, there's all this conservative stuff about they're always trying to push homeschool because they say
They're
the
trying
public
to
schools
push
are,
homeschool.
and
yeah.
it's like none of your fucking base can afford like. You
Yeah.
know, you got to work to feed your child. You
Yeah.
don't have the time to also
no.
do a full schooling lesson.
No.
So it's like it's not a real solution, but also even if you like do have the time and you can teach, math and science and history, your child's going to be a fucking retard and a spastic
Just
because
yeah.
the majority of what you learn in public school
It's how to
is
socialize.
exactly. You
Yeah.
learn how do I deal with kids who are dicks. Like that's you go to public school and suddenly kids are like, "Hey, I fucked your mother."
Mm-hmm.
Like you
Yeah.
don't until you hit public
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
People are like, "Your mother is a fat retard."
Uh-huh.
And I had anal sex with her last night.
Depending on
Yeah.
the homeschool you go to, though, one of your teachers can say that.
Yes.
Which apparently I never learned how to deal with those people because I get DMs from them and comments, and I always respond.
Well, homeschool people?
No, people who say I fucked your mother. But yeah, I am gonna have to have that conversation with my son, where like, because you get to a certain age where people are gonna go like, "Hey, your mother's a whore. I fucked your mother," and I don't know what to tell him because I think what you tell him is, they're just trying to get a rise out of you,
Mm-hmm.
so you don't have to respond to anything, but you should be able to fuck someone up if they say that if they disrespect your mother.
I mean,
Tom Rubino's head and heart was in the right place when he flipped his desk over and said, "You talking about my fucking mother?" The kid flipped his desk over like a fucking animal.
I mean, there is something to be said for like don't take shit because I think people will like lose respect for you if they kind
Sure.
of like bully and
Sure.
antagonize you and you do nothing.
What I've heard about prison is that like people will try to fuck with you and like you
Yes.
have to fight. But if you don't fight back, they'll continue to pick on you because they'll go, "He's an easy target."
Yeah.
So I think you do have to be ready to kind of get your ass kicked a little bit, just so that they don't fuck with you again.
Right.
Yeah.
But it just like you learn because that's
And if
like
you're small, you bring a gun.
be like, now look, Benjamin, only if it's an extreme situation. You can bring a Glock 9mm to the class. And I don't want you to kill anybody, but you just show that it's in your locker.
Just have a little tote bag. Have a little NPR tote bag that you take to your fucking Carroll Gardens faggy school and put a Glock in there.
And you call your bully, it's Jacob, right? You say, "Hey, Jacob, can you just come to my locker for a second?"
Yeah. And you say if you talk about my mother again, this is going up your sister's pussy, and I'm gonna empty the chamber until it goes click.
You know how many rounds are in a Glock, Jacob? I'm gonna expend every one of them.
There's honestly, I mean, just on the record, there's honestly a couple kids that I went to school with that I wish I had shot. Like,
what the fuck?
like, there were some kids that fucked with me, and it would have been really funny if I just like shot them in the leg. Yeah, Mike Sturm, Andrew McConnell, those guys, those motherfuckers.
It's funny how how much it makes an impression on you, like your
Yeah.
first interactions with like kids in elementary or middle school.
Are we beating a dead horse if we talk about this? Have we talked about this on the show a lot?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I
what
don't
did
remember.
we beat?
No, I just feel like if I ran into half of these kids, I would owe it to my childhood
My-
self to like hit them with my car.
I remember my buddy Jordan. What's that shit? Like you go earlier before school, you stay a little later after school.
After school program.
And you like no, and you like watch the bike racks or something, or like you guard the doors, and I don't know. We would wear
Hall
like
monitor.
some shit like that. I forget what it was called.
Yeah.
But me and Jordan were in charge of like guarding a door, so we'd have to come a half hour early.
Uh-huh.
He was running a little late, and I'm waiting for him at the door.
Uh-huh.
And then his mom pulls up, and she's like yelling, and he was really heavy. And you know when you're a kid and a kid's heavy, and it's like you think they're the fattest. You look at a picture now,
Yeah.
you go, oh, he's not fat. He was like the fattest person I knew at the time.
Yeah.
And he stood in front of his mom's car and turned around and jumped and sat his and like dropped his ass on the hood of her car, and it dented the car. And we were thinking like, this was the coolest shit I've ever seen. Yeah, that's the story.
Do you remember like there were a handful of like hot moms that I remember?
A handful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a family that my brother was friends with. I think they were in the mafia maybe, but yeah, she would always come to school in like belly shirts, and that was kind of fun. But then there were some moms that just looked like absolute.
Oh, they
shit.
look ridiculous. I know a
Absolute
mom,
Shit.
and I know a mom who looks like Joe Pesci, right?
Yeah.
And she would talk about how she wanted to suck Michael Jordan's dick like all the time. She was like a lunch lady, and she'd stand on the lunch line while we'd all, and we'd make sure we'd all stay in line and whatever, not be acting up. And she would just be like, Michael Jordan, I would fit his cock in my mouth. We'd be like, all right, lady. She's a Facebook friend of mine. Yeah, she's
worked
like
at
a
the
good
school?
lady.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just worked at the school. She was just like, "What's up, boys?" She's like this little tiny lady. She'd wear a little fanny pack.
Today's
Just
meal
talk
is
about
mystery meat.
And then I remember, because
She was like, "How can I relate to these kids?"
no, I remember as 7th graders, we'd like
gotta
egg
get
her
through
on.
these
We'd
kids,
be
yeah.
like, "Oh no, the whole team though. Remember the team back then? I mean, Rodman, Pippen." She'd be like,
Yeah.
I'll take them all." She would just talk like that. I'm like, all right. Like, who's the lady that's like, that'll be who I am to the kids?
Yeah.
This is the lady who wants the cock of
Well,
basketball
You
players.
clearly never forgot her.
No, that's true.
She clearly made an impression.
Yeah, she rules.
Yeah. Scott was actually valedictorian of his high school, and he was like, there's a few teachers that you always remember.
Our song was the AIDS song. Did you have like a high school song? Ours was the one from
Oh.
Ren. 525,000.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's what we sang for graduating.
Really?
Yeah. Weird.
What do you do when you get AIDS? The guy from Rent, he died and he didn't.
Just recently, right?
No, he died in like in the 90s, but
Oh, what the fuck do I know?
but he didn't. It wasn't AIDS that killed him.
Really? What
Yeah,
was
it was
it?
like some heart thing.
Heart thing.
Yeah,
It's
Oh.
monkeypox.
yeah, yeah,
That's crazy because he died young, I would assume.
yeah,
Oh, that's unfortunate.
yeah. But anyway, so I guess back to higher education. I remember also. So I only went to college for 2 years, and I took this writing class that was at night, and the professor was this. It was a writing class, but the professor was this older black woman who I think she took the train in from Maryland to teach this writing class, and it was the first. And so we spent most of the class studying like talking about like racism, sexism, homophobia, like stuff like that. And she was like, there's people in society have power. There's people who have power. There's people who don't have power. And I remember like kind of pushing back a little bit on that. But that was the first time I had like anyone told me about that dynamic.
Really?
And it's and it's like I just thought like before that I just thought that black people were like loud and just loud and they committed
Just
crimes.
that. That's it.
And I didn't see anything. I didn't
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought they were like,
I mean, it's not higher education, but I mean, I learned early about different, people everybody being the same.
but it's fine because you study like the civil rights movement.
Sure.
You study like Martin Luther King and all that stuff, but you don't learn about like how it's still happening today.
Why they're loud.
Yeah, right. You don't learn why they're loud.
Well, I remember being in kindergarten and the kids at my table, there was like 4 or 5 of us. We all put our hands in, go team. And there was an Indian girl who put her hand in. And when you shock someone, static shock or whatever you call it, that hasn't happened to me in years. But she just static shock. She static shocked us. And I remember going, oh, they produce electricity. As a kindergartner, I was like, whatever she looks like, those
Really?
people make electricity happen out of their hands.
Oh.
Because I don't remember being static shocked before that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it was the first time happening.
Yeah. Scott's power goes out, and he goes and knocks on the girl's door. He's like, "Do you want to come over?"
I just thought it was such an interesting thing to be able to create.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking about Mullen and that class. That lady
You know
said,
him about my
I'm
money.
all about my money.
Did you have any homeschool kids in your town?
No.
Really?
No, we didn't. No.
Sometimes you don't know. Like sometimes you
Yeah.
go, oh, that house is a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, like when I was young, I was always like the second biggest loser
Uh-huh.
at school.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I would
yeah.
hang out with the biggest loser. So I had one friend who was like a
Right.
homeschool, was like a weird dude, and
Yeah.
like I had another friend who's like, really nice dude, but like we'd play Magic the Gathering, and I beat him, and he just started crying.
Oh man, how do you deal with
It's
that?
like you're already playing Magic the Gathering.
Because homeschool kids, well, the parents, they get to make their own curriculum
Uh-huh.
for the most part. Like you have to teach math and science, but you can make your own curriculum. And now parents, they're in like chats on the internet because of the internet, and they
Yeah.
can kind of form curriculums together.
Yeah.
And so, like, just recently, 3,000 people in some chat group, some like homeschool chat group, got in trouble because they're all sharing the same curriculum, which is like to denounce, Martin Luther King, like around Martin Luther King
Right,
time,
right.
talk about how he's a piece of shit who started riots, you
Right.
know.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know what you can even do about that because
They're
again,
like, children, what do we
homeschooled.
remember Martin Luther King for? Cheating on his wife.
It is so funny that they're like, yeah, we're going to debunk racism is bad by showing this guy got a lot of pussy.
Yeah.
The homeschool
This guy
kid
put his
I
dick in
knew,
so many white women.
it was like the curriculum had to be like shaking farts out of the dad's underwear or something. Like it was very much chore orientated. I remember them always doing shit in the yard.
Uh-huh.
I remember them acting and dressing like whatever the parents were into as kids, because
Yeah.
that's what happens usually.
Yeah.
Is so they act like they were in a time vault. So
Yeah.
like a lot of homeschool kids act like they're from the 60s and 70s
Mhm.
because they're just like playing cassettes that their fucking weird parents own. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
That's what it was
Yeah,
like.
because most of their tastes come from their parents.
Exactly.
Like,
Everything comes from their parents.
yeah, and it's it's like you can get some socialization, like if you join sports or whatever. But it's like anything else in life. The more you do it, the better you get at like just dealing with people and weirdos and assholes or whatever. So there is something to be said for a public school, which is theoretically the whole community, the public. All of the children go there for 6 or 7 hours, and ideally they learn things, but at minimum they go there and they interact, and you do that 6 or 7 hours
Right.
every day. Over the course of years, you will develop much stronger social skills than a person who doesn't do that in most cases, or a person who goes to a much more sheltered and closed community like a private school. Like a private school, you're just hanging out with other rich kids. Like you'll learn socialization, but you won't meet working class kids. You won't learn
Yeah.
how they talk and they
Do you think the
think.
girl who heckled me at the Union Hall show a couple weeks ago, she probably went to private school,
She probably did, yeah.
right? Yeah.
I remember private school kids having a hard time organizing hangs if it wasn't whatever sports they were playing, because they did live in different towns and
Oh.
shit like that. You
Yeah.
know, you
There's
couldn't just hop on your bike and go in the woods. Look for a dead body.
Hmm.
Stand by Me wouldn't work if it was a bunch of private school kids.
No.
There's this one girl on Twitter who's like somewhat popular, but she's like a 27-year-old girl who was homeschooled, and she'll just post 70 times a day.
Uh-huh.
And it's always shit like that feel when no gay twink boyfriend. It's just like, you're an attractive woman. What's going on? Like you need it to be socialized, and now
Yeah.
you should honestly be euthanized for the good of society. I don't mean that, but you know what I'm saying. It's like I
Yeah.
think I honestly think homeschooling is child abuse. I think it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you have to let your child get socialized and learn how to fucking deal with the world, because there are assholes out there, and you have to learn how to deal with them.
But that's the thing. It's like, but you can just make the whatever curriculum you want it to be.
Well, yeah, like
Because a lot of those Hasidic schools too, like they're not learning like math and reading, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like,
they're
not
just
learning math and reading.
they're learning how to calculate a security deposit and keep 100% of it.
Yeah, exactly. They're learning how to write letters that say we're renovating the apartment and you need we're selling the building actually we're selling the building.
Well, grade school is essentially just a bunch of like American mythology or whatever you would call that. It's like folklores is grade school, right? It's like Paul Revere. That's not even real. He didn't do that, right? It's like Johnny Appleseed. It's stories of George Washington, but since it's grade school, it's like he chopped down a cherry tree and didn't tell a lie. It's a lot of like fluffs. It's just folklore. Paul
Yeah.
Bunyan you learn about in grade school.
You learn about
Holidays you learn
Paul
about in
Bunyan,
grade
yeah.
school.
Yeah.
You know, like the Thanksgiving thing that, you know, it's like, oh, this isn't the actual case. You're just like, is indoctrinated the word? But grade school is just like, let's pump you with a bunch of silly anecdotes and like, let's make America your Hulk Hogan, you know?
Yeah,
Like, let's sell the action figure of our bullshit to you,
sure,
however they can, you know?
sure.
Mike, you should call Governor Ron DeSantis and see if the statute of limitations is up, so that you can get the black teacher who taught you about racism arrested for doing CRT.
Yeah, maybe.
What is critical race theory completely? I vaguely get it.
It's complicated. I mean, you know
Yeah.
what? We're out of time, but we're gonna talk
oh,
about
yeah.
this on the Patreon.
We'll talk about critical race theory
Yeah,
on
I
the
have
Patreon?
some critical race theory stuff.
Great. We'll
but,
talk
you know,
about
like-
some more high school stories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, let's do that. Hell yeah.
yeah. Critical race theory is a thing they use to make our kids gay. So, subscribe to the Patreon.
Yeah. Yeah,
and,
unless you're in Florida, you can get arrested if you listen to our episode talking about critical race theory.
Yeah.
Governor DeSantis will come to your house.
Yeah. All right, everybody. I will be in Baltimore. The episode comes out on Friday, so I'll be in Baltimore tonight, February 3rd, at Delia Foley's if you want to come out. The ticket link is in my Instagram and Twitter bio. I also got Boston, Denver, Cleveland coming up. Cleveland on February 19th, Denver on February 17th and 18th, Boston on February 10th and 11th, and I'm doing my special taping here in New York City. Sunday, February 26th. I hope to see you there. And I guess that's the show. Any final thoughts?
Patreon.com/outforsmokes.
Patreon.com/outforsmokes. $5. It might not be much to you, but to Scott, it really means a lot.
You know, we're all about our money.
We're all we all about our money. Yeah. See you over on the Patreon. Bye-bye.